All right, welcome back to Draws and Fades, episode 95, preview of the RBC Heritage at Harbortown Golf Links in Hilton Head, South Carolina. I'm your host, Owen Vrabel, joined by my co-host, Matthew Miller.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back.
Producer Nick Boss.
What's going on, fellas? Nice to see you guys this week.
Nice to see you boys as well. Not quite the Masters week we had hoped for. Obviously not quite as appealing as we would have liked. Scotty Scheffler kind of ran away with it. Some drama here and there on the weekend, but overall nothing too exciting, especially for our cards, although I guess Rory did make a run for Matt late. But we'll give a brief recap of the Masters, what went well, what didn't, mostly what didn't. But we're still looking forward to the rest of the PGA Tour season. And if you're looking forward to the rest of the PGA Tour season too, make sure to win big in 2022 with rotoballer.com's PGA Premium Pass. Are you ready to dominate? Rotoballer's PGA Premium DFS package includes exclusive tools, DFS cheat sheets, research stations, and our lineup optimizer. So much more to help you win big. For limited time, get your PGA Premium Pass for 50% off and use our promo code DNF10 for another 10% discount. Just visit rotoballer.com/radio to sign up today. Start rotoballing like a boss. So like I said, we'll give our thoughts on the Masters, and then we're on to Harbortown. RBC Heritage, give our strategy for this week, betting coming off our first major of the year. Stronger field than I think most people typically expect coming off a major. But there's some big names here this week, so it's exciting. Good odds on FanDuel. We'll go through the odds list there, give our outright plays, top 10s, top 20s, top 30s. Our one-and-done picks, I'm still hanging on in the top 300 of the Mayo, one and done, so we will get into that as well. And as always, give us a follow on Twitter, at MattyMills85, at Owen_Vrabel, and at Draws_N_Fades. And we're back at it, boys. Not the week we were looking for sure. And it kind of sucks when a major goes like that. I mean, there was really not a lot to look forward to. I had one good thing go right for me this week, and it was that Tiger Woods actually played pretty well Thursday and Friday. Made the cut. First winning bet of the week. Only winning bet of the week. So that's basically where I left off. And it was nice to see him back out there. But other than that, I mean, Brooks Koepka was a disaster. Justin Thomas played horribly on Thursday, played his way out of the tournament, even though he gave me signs of life on the weekend. And you could kind of say the same for a lot of the bigger names. Morikawa finished well. Zalatoris finished well. Obviously, Rory played really well on Sunday, shot 8 under. But there was really no drama. Cam Smith and Scotty Scheffler should have been written in the stars. We should have seen it, but we didn't. And, to our credit, I think the odds kind of dictated our thoughts on that. But they were easily the best players coming into this week in terms of the last month and a half of golf. And we decided to not indulge on either of them under 20-1. So we didn't really have a chance on Sunday. So, Matt, how are you feeling on the weekend knowing that really wasn't much we could do coming down the stretch?
Yeah, I mean, it was like pretty much Friday afternoon. It was a pretty depressing feeling going on. And it was like at that point where you knew that Scheffler was playing so well and Cam Smith was really the only guy there that like it wasn't even an option really to live bet it. You know what I mean? You would have had to hope for like a lot to go right for the guy you picked, coming from 7 back and a lot to go wrong for Scheffler. So yeah, I mean, it was pretty depressing in that aspect of it.
Yeah. I mean, I live bet on Thursday night on JT again at 120-1, which for, I guess, like a day and a half felt okay because he played really well Friday.
It was what was weird is that like when we were texting Friday afternoon, like it looked like the afternoon was playing really tough, and we thought for a minute like Schwartzel was going to be in the clubhouse with the lead going into the weekend at -3 because of how tough the conditions were in the afternoon and like how much trouble those guys were having. And at that point, we were sitting there like, all right, like even Rory's only like 5 shots back of that. Like he's still kind of alive. Like Berger was floating around even. I was optimistic. And then the way Scheffler closed the day out, it was kind of like, well, this sucks. He's going to have to completely collapse to have any chance.
Yeah, I mean, Scheffler really didn't give much hope throughout the weekend. I mean, he played so good. He was above average in every aspect of his game. Not even above average. He was better than most at everything. He was great off the tee, great on approach, and then every time he didn't hit a good approach, he was nails with his short game.
I was just gonna say that. I mean, him and around the green was every time he got himself into trouble, and you thought like, oh, he could be looking at a bogey. He either had that ridiculous chip in on 3, or he put himself to like 5 feet. It was insane.
But even if there were holes throughout Saturday too where he would be 8 feet for par, nails. Like every time there was a chance to have a misstep, he didn't make one. So that's why he's the number 1 player in the world right now, and it's like the biggest rise we've seen in a while. It's not like no one didn't know who Scottie Scheffler was. It was just like no one thought that, and us included, never thought that Scottie Scheffler would win 4 of 6 tournaments and rise to world number 1.
Yeah, I had a little like sliver of hope come in on Sunday. Like when Rory was making the run, I was like, oh man, like just give me 1 double bogey, and all of a sudden like he's gonna start feeling the nerves. He's only like 2 up, with like a couple holes left. 18's been playing tough, like a lot can go wrong. But to his credit, I mean, he just didn't make any mistakes. And the Cam did it. So like,
exactly. Yeah.
And Cam put it in the water and made like whatever that was on 12, triple. And it was like, whoa, dude, like that happened to Scheffler. Like, who knows, or if he hit one out of bounds or something. But
no, if Scheffler did what Cam Smith did, he four putted 18 like he did, him and Rory would have gone to a playoff.
Yeah, which was insane. Yeah, I mean, it was frustrating. It was too late from Rory. And like that's what he does, and he just trolls me back in. So now I'm just like totally like sold already for the next major.
Yeah. I don't know. Boss, do you have any thoughts on the Masters?
No, I mean, we were kind of aligned. The only thing that saved me is I put in a little Cam Smith top 10, which kind of bailed me out and gave me a little silver lining watching it. But none of the outrights were really close. I mean, you guys hit it spot on for Friday. You thought the wind was really going to kick up and things are going to get ugly in the afternoon, and it was going to leave a lot of guys within reaching distance, and it just didn't shake out that way at all. Then Saturday, I mean, the conditions weren't windy, but the, cooler temperatures definitely kind of affected things too, guys not hitting it as far and whatnot. But Scheffler was just incredible. I mean, just go back to think about, we hit his first one was Phoenix at the beginning of February, right? And he's just taken off like a rocket ship, like it's incredible. So, I mean, hats off to Scotty. Sometimes, it's tough. We get in our own way because we think it's so tough to win golf tournaments, which it is. But like we just said, Cam Smith and Scottie Scheffler have been the 2 hottest golfers for the start of the year. Like it makes perfect sense that they were the guys this week.
Right. But what Scottie Scheffler's done in the past month and a half, there's only been like a handful of guys that have done it over the past 20 years. Basically Tiger Woods, Dustin Johnson, Jason Day, Jordan Spieth, maybe.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
It's incredible too how much the caddy comes into play, and I mean, a lot of times I think they're the unsung heroes. But Ted Scott's definitely gotten a bit of a shine off this, but just how much that's helped him this year, I think, and maybe it's overstated at this point because it's talked.
It might just be God's will, dude. Scotty said it was God's plan, so
yeah,
who knows? It could have just been God's plan.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to put it in perspective how much he's winning. Like, when you look at the odds list each week, like he just won as much in the last 2 months as Xander has his entire career. And he goes off at 24-1 in a major. You know what I mean? Like, that's how impressive that is.
Mm-hmm.
When you put it like that.
Xander's goes up at 24-1. Like, Scottie Scheffler just did in 2 months what he's done his entire career.
Right.
In more impressive tournaments.
Right. Mm-hmm. To be fair, his wins are better.
Yeah, way better.
Yeah, way better.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's not like Scotty got, some like off-field event wins too. Like he's won big boy tournaments. The Masters obviously the biggest of them. Like
but he won Masters, match play and waste management.
Play,
I mean, So impressive.
One more thing. Do you think? I mean, that Brooks performance was like an atrocity. He's like. Do you think he's gonna leave Srixon? Like, I feel like he's pissed off. I already saw there was a photo he posted where, did you see this?
No.
He posted the Instagram, then deleted it because the club he was holding in the Instagram was a Titleist wedge. And people were commenting on it because he made the huge equipment change this year and he's already pissed off with his wedges, I guess. I feel like that might be coming.
It was a photo from this weekend he was using Titleist
Yeah, he
wedges?
posted it like, can't wait for the Masters, but it was like him with like the Titleist like Vokey wedge.
You think he was doing a little subtweet kind of deal?
I don't know what it was, or if he was just using that club and he's already getting fed up with his new clubs.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, either way, I mean, it's at the end of the day when he doesn't win a major and when he plays that poorly, it just means that we already got a decent number on him this week. We're gonna get another nice number at him, I would hope, at a U.S. Open or PGA. But those are the two that he's obviously won in back-to-back years. So I don't know if we're gonna get that nice of a number, but
yeah,
it's better than him. If he's not gonna win, I'd rather him miss a cut. Even though I did bet him top 10, so.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd rather him miss the cut than win, but yeah, I mean, I guess for future bets, it's better off that he misses a cut.
He's sitting at 16 for the PGA right now on FanDuel, but I mean, those will readjust when we get closer.
Right. So, yeah, I don't have a ton more to say on the Masters, I guess. Like I said, Morikawa, Zalatoris, Rory all played really well on Sunday. Schwartzel was impressive. Danny Willett was impressive. Harry Higgs missed getting an invite to next year's Masters by one stroke, which is unfortunate. If Danny Willett had bogeyed 18 or Charles Schwartzel had given it a few more strokes back, he would have made the top 12 in ties, which would have gotten him an invite to next year. So now he has to requalify, which, as we know, probably it's going to be pretty difficult for Harry. So that being said, Harry is here this week, and I think there are some takes to be had this week where you think the guys who played in the Masters heads are at. I think a lot of people think there's a little bit of a lull after a major week, but the guys that have played at the Masters have played pretty well at the RBC Heritage. It's just so you have to look back to the last year. So I think there's plenty to be said about that. But Matt, we are at Harbor Town, which is a favorite of a few of our players that we like. Unfortunately, Abe Answer, one of the early WDs this week. I don't really know what's going on with him, but he will not be in attendance this week, which is unfortunate because we were waiting to play him at Harbor Town, and we're going to get a good number coming off last week.
Yeah.
But he's not here. But what are we working with? Pete Dye design, shorter course, Harbor Town.
Yeah, it's a par 71, around 7,100 yards, Bermuda greens with Pella overseed, like you mentioned, a Pete Dye design. Because it's a par 71, we're looking at 3 par 5s, 11 par 4s, and then 4 par 3s, all of them pretty long, 190 yards plus. Despite the long par 3s, that kind of makes the yardage even longer than it is, which is already short. Distance is not going to be important at all this week. It's more positioning yourself well off the tee. There's a lot of holes, and I'm sure you hear this a ton of places with, the overhanging trees. And if you hit it and if you miss in the wrong spot, you're not going to have an angle to go with the green, and you're going to be forced to kind of punch your way up the fairway. So positioning off the tee is going to be a lot more important this week than distance. Like most Pete Dye courses, you're going to, you want to be in position off the tee and then make your good approach shots. One thing I'll say about this course, it has the second smallest greens on tour. So that leads me to a few points. Approach is going to be more important than usual because you have smaller targets you're shooting at. And just because the greens are small, you're bound to miss more of them. So around the green and scrambling might be something to look at this week and kind of put an emphasis on, because you are going to be having to go up and down a little bit this week. Past winners, we've seen Stuart Sink win last year at -19, Webb Simpson the year before at -22. You hate to see it, him beating Abe down the stretch there. And then CT Penn won the year before at -12. So I don't know if you had any other thoughts on the week. I mean, I think for me, it's more looking at guys who could be accurate off the tee. And I mean, as always on these shorter courses, the accuracy aspect, if you are a longer hitter, you're going to be clubbing down. So that kind of leaves you the opportunity to be more accurate. So I wouldn't rely too much on the stats, but kind of just an overall understanding of guys are going to need to put themselves in position off the tee. And then a premium on approach and around the green, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I mean, tight fairways, positional course. I mean, definitely a second shot course, even though a lot of the holes are not going to be long. So depending on how you play it, whether you want to hit 3-wood off the tee, you want to hit an iron, like you're going to have the ability to go in the green in all the greens in regulation. And so I'm definitely looking at greens in regulation, guys who are playing well on approach. And I think this is another one of those courses where, course history definitely matters. And I think playing well on other short type courses, even like Pete Dye design type courses, I think comes into play. There's just a strategical aspect to it, but it also just brings a ton of players into play. Like a normal week, a lot of the shorter hitters, admittedly so, say they don't really feel like they might have a chance, but this week they don't have to be as perfect. They're not going to have to be long off the tee. They're going to be able to hit the greens in 2 on par 4s. The par 3s are longer, but I think it does leave an interesting aspect from a betting angle. Like, we do have a bunch of the world's best players here, but we have seen a mixed bag of winning players here. I mean, not even a mixed bag. Like, we haven't really seen an elite player win besides Webb to a degree in 2020, and I don't think you would call him elite per se now. CT Pan's certainly not elite. Satoshi Kodai not elite. Wesley Bryan, Brendan Grace, and then
Hey, CT
Jim
is
Furyk.
a medalist at the Olympics.
CT Pan, yeah, he is a medalist. He did get a medal at the Olympics. So yeah, I just think it gives you the option where if you feel like a guy sets up well for this course, has good course history, but is fluttering down the odds board at 100 to 1. Again, we've seen some long shot win at this course, so I don't think that's crazy. But per usual, obviously the better players I think will have a better chance, and there are some reasons to like players coming off the Masters. I think it's kind of, I don't really know exactly how to angle it, but the players that have played at the Masters have played well here the week after. That being said, they usually are the better players. So I'm kind of looking for actually some of the players that played at the Masters, made the cut, but are also at some pretty good odds and are not necessarily considered the elite players in this field. So other than that, yeah, I mean, typical week for me, approach play, guys that can make some birdies. And in this scenario, I mean, you obviously do not have to be long off the tee. So guys, I think they can thrive in this type of shorter course atmosphere. So yeah, it's Harbor Town. I really do like this course. I think it's kind of it's a gem, and it doesn't necessarily get a ton of hype necessarily from the general betting public, but the guys like it, and that's why we're seeing the odds board look as it does, and we'll get into it now. But Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa are your favorites at 13 to 1 currently on FanDuel. I saw JT go off maybe a little bit lower than that at some point, but we're recording Monday night. Cameron Smith plus 1,500, DJ plus 1,700, Patrick Cantlay also plus 1,700. So, I mean, 5 of the top 10 players in the world right there are in attendance. And we got Matt Fitzpatrick, Shane Lowry, Sung Jae Im all at 20 to 1, and Corey Connors at 26. So those are your top 9 guys in the field. I do believe, even though I just mentioned that long shots definitely have a chance at this course, but I don't know, Matt. You thinking about any of these guys under 26 to 1? Corey Connors is 26, but under 20 to 1.
I think you can make a case for a few of them.
I think you probably make a case for all of them. But.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I feel like it's a pretty good number for Dustin Johnson. I definitely thought about him. If he kind of puts it together, I could see this being one of those events that he just kind of runs away with it. But I'm not going to do it this week. I think the group, one a little bit further down is more appealing to me just because of the numbers. But yeah, I mean, I think there's certainly a case to be made for pretty much any of these guys, like you said. I personally wouldn't go Matt Fitzpatrick. I know that this is a type of course that fits him and he likes it here, but that number is a little too low for me for a guy that hasn't won over here yet.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think the DJ comment is fair too. I mean, he's played here. I mean, he's played here 4 times and he hasn't finished worse than 28th, but he also doesn't have a top 10. So, his pure advantage of being long off the tee doesn't really come into play here, but he also clubbing down, he could be much more accurate. And then obviously he's an elite iron player, so he's going to give himself plenty of chances at birdie. But I actually, and it's crazy because I rarely take this man, but I'm going to go to Corey Connors this week at 26 to 1. He's been playing really good golf. And last year, he finished 8th at the Masters and then followed that up with a 6th or fourth at the RBC. And this year we just saw him finish sixth at the Masters and playing as good a golf as we've seen him play recently. I mean, 11th at the Arnold Palmer, 26th at the Players, 35th at the Valero, and then 6th at the Masters. Great run of form. Kind of feel like he's going to just kind of roll that over. And it's not the top of the board in theory, I think, has bigger, sights in mind in the RBC Heritage. But anytime Corey Connors thinks he can get a win, I think he's going to be going after it, which his motivation should be probably the same no matter what tournament it is. He should probably be trying to win these tournaments. But I do like him this week. I think he's been very consistent. I like him at a shorter golf course. He popped well in the model I made where I feel like he's very consistent in hitting good drives. He's second in good drives gained over his last 36 rounds in this field. Second in greens and regulations gained. Top 25 in a strokes gained approach. He's played well at other short golf courses. Corey Connors. I didn't really think that was going to be a play that I was going to make this week. I'm kind of upset because I think in the one and done with Mayo, I think he might be a little bit lower owned than some of these other top players here. So I was hoping I could take him, but already used him. He finished in T35th for me, which didn't do shit. So can't do anything there, but I'm going to take him at the top of the board at 26-1.
Yeah, I don't hate that. He's played obviously really well lately, good at the Masters. He made that run in the match play. And I think, if we learned anything from the last couple of weeks, sometimes it's just as simple as playing, the hottest golfer. That the last week we saw that with Scotty Scheffler. The last couple of weeks, he's just kind of been the hottest guy going in, and he continued it. So I don't hate that strategy with Connors. He's playing really well right now. So
and from that standpoint, like I also seriously thought about Shane Lowry, who's been really good on approach, really good in greens and regulation. He's great with the shorter irons. He's very consistent off the tee. He's gotten 4 consecutive top 13 performances going back to the Honda, where he finished runner-up, 13th at the Players, 12th at the Valspar, 3rd at the Masters. And he has 2 top 10s at the RBC. I think he's pretty fair lean this week as well. I considered him. I considered Sung Jae to a degree. I think his performance last week was pretty impressive as well. And it's funny because I'm definitely fading the top players here, which, may not be a smart strategy, but Sung Jae also finished 13th here last year. And honestly, if they were back where Connors was, it probably would have made it a little bit tougher of a decision. But getting the 26 instead of the 20 on Connors, I felt like it was worth it. So that's where I went. That being said, Morikawa obviously coming off a great performance. Cam Smith coming off a great performance. JT showed signs of serious life, and he's probably still very due to win the tournament. So he could be scary here. His driver was an absolute catastrophe at times at the Masters, so he won't have to bring that out of the bag as much, which could benefit him. So all the guys up here are scary. I went with Corey Connors, and we're going to go from there. So I think moving down the board, we've got a bunch of guys between 30 and 50. We got Daniel Berger at 31-1, Webb Simpson, Joaquin Niemann at 31 and 32-1. And Tyrrell Hatton, Jordan Spieth, 37-1. Russell Henley, Billy Horschel, Tommy Fleetwood at 40 and 42-1. And then Harold Varner and Kevin Kisner at 45. And then a bunch of guys over 50. This is another week where DraftKings and FanDuel both released their odds at different times. DraftKings came out first at a pretty big discrepancy. Like Henley was at 22 on DraftKings to start. And now, FanDuel's offering a 40, 45. We're recording when we're recording. You could jump on numbers when you see them. I think it's not a horrible strategy. Russell Henley is still at 22-1 on DraftKings, so you can still get him a better number at FanDuel. And that goes to be said with a lot of these players. They have a little bit of a variance in terms of where they're placing their guys this week. So definitely take a peek at what the best prices are. But between 31 and 50, Matt, where'd your eyes go?
Yeah, I like Daniel Berger, 31-1. We know he's kind of in the last couple of years put more of an emphasis on his accuracy off the tee and kind of sacrificed a little bit of the distance, but it's working out pretty good for him. I think he's going to be putting himself in pretty good position off the tee. He's been pretty dependable in that department. He has good irons, although they've been a little sloppy sloppier as of late than kind of what we saw going into this year, where he was, the best in every field and in the statistics. But I still am confident in his iron game. He's good around the green. He's gained there in 6 of his last 7 events, and he's got good history here. He's got a 13th and a 3rd his last 2 appearances at this course. So I thought he had a good first couple days at the Masters. Kind of fell apart a little bit on the weekend.
Well, he played like shit on Sunday. He was 8 over on Sunday. So
yeah,
we throw it out.
So yeah, one bad round. Little motivation going into this week, but I thought it was a pretty good number to get him in the 30s, just because he has.
I love it.
Yeah,
DraftKings has him at 18. FanDuel has him at 31. I love Daniel Berger 31 to 1. Yeah, I mean, you said, first of all, I think you could also throw out his, the players, his approach game at least. I mean, he finished 13th. Somehow he lost 2.5 strokes on approach, which is super unlike him. He's still second in this field in strokes gained on approach over his last 36 rounds. Still really good with his short irons. I mean, proximity from 125 to 150. He's first in that range. Plays really well on courses under 7,200 yards. He's first in that range in this field as well over his last 36 rounds in the shorter courses. 31 is a great number. I'm on board with that as well. And you were on board with his collapse, so to speak, at the Honda. So I think he's still due to have a really good performance and win a tournament. I think this week's as good of a week as there is. So I love his course history as well.
I've seen people like the slander on Twitter about Daniel Berger, who I get I guess now a lot of people don't like him. We like him. He's won for us multiple times before. But people were saying it's too hard of a field for Daniel Berger to win in, which I think is ridiculous because when he won the Charles Schwab, it was a much tougher field than this. Yeah. So it doesn't make any sense with that comment, but somehow there's that narrative going around that he can't win in hard fields.
I mean, who wins in harder fields?
Yeah, well, and he's done it. He did it.
Well, no, I know, but who is it then?
Yeah. No, yeah.
How many wins does Shane Lowry have on the PGA Tour?
Yeah, I mean he
won a British Open, 100%. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. You can make this narrative about plenty of people that didn't.
Right. Yeah.
Shane Lowry just blew a fucking tournament too. So there's plenty of players that don't close all the time.
Duck him and take Matt Fitzpatrick, who's never won. I don't get it.
No, yeah, the Daniel Berger slander will not be tolerated here.
Matt Fitzpatrick can't win in anything.
And for what it's worth, I really love this section of the board in general. I think you could make your whole card between 30 and 50 and feel pretty good about it. I've heavily considered Webb Simpson. Obviously, I think it's a horse with a course perspective. Webb also popped second in my model. He's a freak at these shorter courses. Pete Dye Design. He loves this kind of strategic golf course where he doesn't have to be long off the tee. He's played here a ton of times. He has a runner-up, a first-place finish, 3 other top 11 performances. He's never missed a cut. He's phenomenal here. I think if you're looking for a potential lock, I think him for top 20 or top 30 is probably a great play. He's at pretty good value. Joaquin Niemann, playing great golf, coming off of his win at the Genesis, played pretty well at the Masters, looks as good as he has. And then, obviously, Jordan Spieth is at a pretty high number. Billy Horschel's played really good golf. Tommy Fleetwood showed you a little something. I'm going back, after all that said, going back to Russell Henley, which I don't care. I'm going to say this forever until he wins, but he just is so good at golf to not win more, or at least come inside the top 10 more. But I've obviously been on him for a couple of collapses, and he has kind of a mixed bag at this event. Finished 9th here last year, finished 6th in his original appearance back in 2013, and then his 4 missed cuts at 23rd and 26th. But going with the narrative of playing at the Masters last week, we saw him play okay. He had some moments on the weekend where he kind of got back some strokes, finished 30th, nothing super impressive. And then you look, he still hasn't missed a cut since last year's Open Championship in July, which is something that I continue to say about him. But I'm going to play him to win. I'm going to play him as a top 20 this week. And I just really like Russell Henley's game, and especially at a shorter course where he doesn't have to be long off the tee. And it's going to be a huge second shot course. He's first in this field in strokes gained on approach, 11th in green and regulations gained. He's 3rd in strokes gained total on courses under 7,200 yards. This is a perfect course for Russell Henley. He's been good around the greens. Pretty much everything you would ask for out of a player. He checked all the boxes this week. He's kind of in that range where I just mentioned all the other golfers that I think are good plays too, which I'll probably bite my tongue after Webb Simpson or Joaquin Neiman wins, but I'm going with Russell Henley. So,
well, yeah, that is your guy. I'm not surprised by it. And hey, I mean, I think that he's probably going to be up on the first page of the leaderboard on the weekend at some point. He just has to close one of these out. So,
well, I'm going to take him first-round leader too. I know our boy Brian Kirshner already tweeted that today. Russell Henley, first-round leader, RBC Heritage. It's a great play, for sure. He could easily finish first-round leader and then play horribly Friday, play good Saturday, and then play poorly Sunday and finish 31st. So,
yeah, I don't hate that play at all. I might have to get on board.
So under 50, who else you like?
I am going to take Joaquin Neiman.
Okay.
32, I see here on FanDuel. He played well for a while last week at the Masters. Didn't have a great weekend, but he was in the mix for a while. He's good off the tee. I thought it was actually, I will say this, I thought it was very impressive for him. I'll give him credit how well he played Thursday and Friday while being paired with Tiger. Because it's not an easy grouping to be in. He's never seen anything like that before with that kind of crowd and everyone, going nuts for him. So I thought that was a very impressive showing for him, especially at that course. But I like him this week. He's good off the tee, and he's going to be able to club down. He's a long guy. He's gained over 2 strokes on approach in 3 of his last 4 starts. Another thing to his credit is his short games have improved tremendously this year. He now has 7 straight events where he's gained strokes around the green. He was a complete mess, a year or 2 ago with the short game, and he's improved that a lot. So I like him. I think he's turning into a guy that can kind of go out and have a chance to win most weeks. And we talked about him last year, kind of making that turn where he stopped missing a lot of cuts and was just, making a ton of cuts and being more consistent. And I think this year he's starting to take the jump where he's taking that consistency and now starting to contend in a lot more events. So I look kind of forward to him just keep rising. I think that he's got a good chance this week, so I'm going to be on board him.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, Neiman, he's proven to be much better than Matthew Wolff. We'll say that. He's definitely behind the other young guns in his generation of Scheffler, Morikawa, and Hovland, but he's not far behind, and he's made a name for himself, and he could definitely win this type of golf tournament. I do think that, obviously his driving distance gets mitigated here a bit, but he's been able to play the ball each way. He's been able to shape his shots the way he wants. So I think a targeted golf course doesn't necessarily hurt him. So I like it. I didn't go there. Didn't go with Webb. And I had to go back to another guy who I love on these shorter courses, who I think gets up for these type of events, is an absolute bulldog, game time player, Kevin Kisner. 45-1. I think he was at a much better number at a certain point, and maybe I'll check DraftKings right now, see where he's at there. He's at 55-1 on DraftKings, so there are better numbers out there. But Kevin Kisner, short course savant. He's played really well at RBC Heritage, just not over the past 2 years. He's missed both cuts. Kind of surprising for him to do that, but obviously he does have multiple top 10s here. Second place finish in 2015 and 11th back in 2017, and it's one of those places where, him being a little bit more of a veteran now, I don't think this is not a place where you need to be young to win. I think I saw somewhere the average age of the golfers that have won here over the past 7 or 8 years are 32. I think Stuart Sink probably raises that average a little bit, but nevertheless, veterans, short guys off the tee can definitely win here. And I do like his, not to be a shot at Stuart Sink at all, obviously. He's played great golf over the past couple of years. So, but yeah, Kisner, kind of been pretty consistent recently. I mean, he played well at the Players, played okay at the Valspar, played okay at the Masters. I actually played better than he finished at the Masters. He finished 44th, pretty poor performance on the weekend as well. So Like him, coming off of the Masters week and playing at a course he's very familiar with, at a short course where he knows he has a chance to win before he tees off, and I like that about kids.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I think this is a pretty good course for him. It's kind of the type of track that he does well at. We saw him win at Sedgefield last year, which is, one of those shorter courses. He's had success before at Pete Dye, so I like that call. I haven't gone there. I'm considering a little bit Tyrell Hatton.
Wow. Oh my God. I didn't know what was going to come out of your mouth. I thought you were going to say Billy Horschel, and either of them would have been equally as surprising. So
yeah, 37-1. He's been playing pretty well lately. I mean, last week
he was the worst golfer on the course to get the cut.
What's that?
He was the worst golfer on the course.
No, I know, but the first 2 days, he just couldn't make a putt the first 2 days, and he was still kind of hanging around. He did not mince his words afterwards. He had some things to say about Augusta, which is kind of an uncharted territory for a lot of these guys on the tour. He had some complaints about it, but he was playing pretty well leading into it. 37 is kind of a good number on him.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm considering it. I mean, this is a type of course I like him at. I haven't got.
Was he able to shake off last week that easily?
Yeah, I think he just has a little outburst and he gets over it.
He was fake shooting people with his club.
Yeah, pretty funny. I'll give him credit.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
Well, it's funny because he was paired with Billy Horschel, and Billy was complimenting how fun he was to play with.
Yeah. I mean, they're a match made in heaven, to be honest. They
really are. Yeah.
They should be paired together pretty often. Yeah, I mean, his history here is not horrible. It's, he obviously has a third place finish, made 3 out of 4 cuts. In theory, you would think a great place for him. He can be very accurate off the tee and can be great with his approach. I would be scared just of his mental headspace after last week, but you never know what you're going to get with Tyrell. So 37, if he had played well at the Masters, he'd be down with Matt Fitzpatrick most likely. So I don't hate it, but we're over 50-1. Also, I would say Harold Varner finished runner up here last year, but 42-1. Get out of here. 45-1, whatever. Not happening. Kevin Na, Alex Noren, Matt Kuchar, Maverick McNeely, all 50-1 on FanDuel. Brian Harmon, Siwoo Kim, Chris Kirk, between 55 and 65, as well as Adam Hadwin, Jason Kokrak. And then we're 80 and above with Kevin Streelman, Cameron Tringali, Ian Poulter, Mito, Doug Gim, and then a slew of guys in 95, and then we're over 100. So I'll open the floor to you if there's guys in between 50 and 95 that you like this week, Matt. Otherwise, I've kind of locked in those 4 plays I mentioned, and I'm going with a couple long shots that I like, and then that'll be it for me on the outright card.
Yeah, I like Siwoo this week.
Siwoo.
Yeah, see if 55-1 here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get better than that or not. I'll have to take a look around. But he's been a little bit of a mixed bag here. He's missed a couple cuts. I think he has a 5th, a 13th, and a 25th or something like that. But this is the type of course I like him on. Like if I think of the prototypical Siwoo Kim course, it's like the shorter Pete Dye. And he's won at Sawgrass. He's won at the Stadium course, PGA West at the Amex.
The Amex.
He's performed well at the shorter courses at Sedgefield. He's had some good results. So this is like kind of the type of course for Siwoo Kim. He's really good on Pete Dyes. He's had a pretty good year. He has some good finishes early in the year, and he's been fairly consistent this year. I mean, he's a lot improved since the Siwoo we saw him at, where he was either like contending for a tournament or hilariously missing the cut. So,
sure. But he still has that in his bag too.
He does. Yeah, no, I'm not rolling that out of there. He could blow up this week. But I'm willing to take a chance with 55-1. I think he actually contends and hangs around enough, and now consistently at these type of events where I think it's a pretty good number on him.
That's fair. That's very fair. I think you could probably make the same case for I mean, not the same case. No, there is no same case with Siwoo Kim. He is his own beast. You cannot compare anyone on to Siwoo Kim. But I think you can make a case for Adam Hadwin this week. I think you can make a case for Brian Harmon this week. Kind of shorter hitters that have played well at these shorter type tracks. Hadwin in particular, I think, is pretty good value at 65-1. He Actually finished third in my model that I made. He's been really good recently, which is making me kind of reconsider where my card is at right now currently. But Adam Hadwin will not be winning this tournament, so I'm not going to do that. And same thing with Brian Harmon. Like, we can talk about them, but they're not going to win, so that's fine. Other than that, Kokrak's at a pretty big number, but I think this course kind of mitigates his strength with his driving distance. I mentioned Mito. He's at 85-1. It kind of is getting that range where I feel like he's getting at pretty big numbers, which is nice, but not worth it for me. We've kind of seen these flashes in the pan kind of not come to fruition. I mean, we did see Garrett Hago win the Palmetto, but then he's been pretty horrible ever since. I know that for a fact because he missed the cut by a ton of strokes last week. And
after a good day Thursday too.
Right. Yeah. Even par. Yeah. Should have made the cut. He finished 11 over, I believe. So, you kind of don't know what you're going to get with some of these younger guys. So I kind of trust the plotters and the veterans, so to speak, guys with history here to a bigger degree than them.
Yeah,
so,
I think that's a good point because I think that we get spoiled sometimes with like the guys who come up and win right away, and then like even like Scotty Scheffler was like, oh, like it took him like a little while to win. Like same as Zalatoris, people are like, oh, like you can't really win, and you kind of forget how hard it is to win. And I think Mito's like not even really on their level, so I think to kind of like expect him to just have that immediate success is just kind of a little unfair to him.
It's not out of the question that he's going to win a tournament. He's got the talent to do it. It's just like, I don't know if he could put it together for 4 days, and we haven't seen it. That's for sure. So guys that are interested in kind of top 20 type plays, Russell Knox, this feels like a Russell Knox type track. I mean, he's a green and regulations machine. It's extremely consistent off the tee, really good with his approach, and has actually played really well on these shorter courses. He is 10th in the strokes gained total over his last 36 rounds of this course in particular. Played really well at Sedgefield, played well at Colonial, plays well at most tracks under 7,200 yards. So now that I say it, I should probably
see him sneaking it out.
I don't know if I can see him sneaking it out. I mean, he's missed his last 3 cuts here, but I think he's playing better golf than he has been over those years. And we've seen him, he has 3 top 11s with a runner-up in 2016 and 5 made cuts out of 8 appearances here. So I'm going to take him for sure as a top 20. And consistency-wise, I mean, he hasn't missed a cut since the Amex, and he's played 8 events since. So he's made 8 straight cuts. 95-1 feels like a pretty good shot, but I don't care. Fuck it. I'm going to take it for 95-1.
Yeah, I'm considering it. it. I like that.
I mean, I just kind of talked myself into that because it's
I was like
when you get this deep down the board and you kind of like a guy. I mean, I really do like him as a top 20. I think he's got everything you need this week, and he has played good golf. I mean, he hasn't been spectacular by any means, but he was really good at the Players. He was very consistent over his stretch at Pebble, Phoenix, and the Genesis. Didn't play great at the Valero or the Valspar, but I think Russell Knox is the kind of guy that can definitely play well with the scores and has in the past. So I think that's enough.
Yeah, I like it. I might get in on that as well. I was looking at him. I had 2 names checked down here that I was considering. Him and EVR.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, I just keep getting drawn to EVR. I might just settle on him for a top 20. I do think he's a little bit better than being down here, but there are some good names down here, actually. I mean, the more you look at it, like Luke List is all the way down to 95-1, and he won this year.
It doesn't feel like a good Luke List course, but even Tom Hoagie also won this year.
Yeah.
Seems like it would be a good Tom Hoagie course. He doesn't have a good course history. Denny McCarthy, a guy I've mentioned 1,000 times. Charles Howell III, Chucky 3-6, one of the originals on the podcast. He's actually been playing pretty good golf. There's some pretty good names around 100-1. So I think the top 20 card could end up being a little bit crazier than I originally anticipated.
You didn't even name your boy, Ricky Fowler, in triple digits.
That's, I'm
if there's a course where, like, we've talked about some veterans have had success and you have some long shot winners, he's kind of checking your boxes there.
Yeah, but if he had showed me anything at this course.
What if you don't take Ricky Fowler? I take Ricky Fowler and he wins.
he's not going to win, so I don't really have to worry about
All right.
that. All right, take him.
I'm going to take him now.
That's so rude, honestly. I mean, yeah, whatever.
That's fucking rude, Matthew. I'm sorry to jump in on this, but
Yeah,
I
That's
can't
just
believe
a
what you're doing right now.
yeah. You're going to take him.
You,
I
you
think
know
I
you
might.
know what these two guys here have been through with Ricky Fowler over the past decade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What makes you want to take him? He's been horrible on short courses. He's been horrible on approach. He hasn't been good at anything. His RBC Heritage past results are 2 appearances and 2 missed cuts, 8 years apart. He's going to pull a Stuart Sink out of his ass?
yeah. I mean, it's a long shot. Maybe I won't take him. I don't know.
Well, now you're making me want to do it just because you pressed my buttons.
It's what we haven't seen him at this number in. Has he gotten to the triple digits?
Yes. Yes. He's not even making the majors, dude, or the players.
Yeah, I know that, but
yeah, he's been at triple digits. But that's fine. Fine.
a lot of good players aren't making the majors. We'll say that.
A lot of good players aren't making the majors.
Keith Mitchell was left out of the Masters. Don't get me started on that. I mean, we didn't start changing the qualifications around.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you're right. Well, Keith Mitchell's more deserving of making a major right now than Ricky Fowler. So.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Is Keith Mitchell
All right.
in the field this week? Keith,
Yeah,
why isn't Keith
I don't
playing?
know why he's not in the field this week.
He didn't play last week. He's ready.
I was
He's
surprised.
rested.
And you know who else? I'll say who else I was pissed off at, who I was going to take, and I don't know why he's not here, is Gary Woodland. He's like a short course guy now. He has
Short course
success on
Gary?
him. I don't know where he is.
Mr. Club Down.
Yeah, it's perfect for him.
All right. Well, let's look at the guys that are playing this week.
Sure.
Keith
All right,
Mitchell and
we're
Gary are
gonna
not here.
start there.
And I mean, you just led me into a Ricky Fowler take that I didn't want to have. Like, I didn't want to talk shit about Ricky. I didn't want to take him. And now I'm feeling like maybe I should just to say I did. But
I just feel like we've seen some weird things lately. Like Charles Schwartzel last week out of nowhere plays well. He's sitting next to him at 100-1. Charles Schwartzel the week before the Masters was 500-1 at the Valero Texas Open.
if they do a make miss cut prop on Ricky, I'll take that.
All right. I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to look for it.
Yeah. All right. Otherwise, we're over 100-1, obviously, because Ricky Fowler is at 100-1. I have a few bombs and a few veteran thoughts, which I have had a lot recently for these like kind of non-major tournaments. But I'll just throw it out there. I'm taking Matthew Neesmith and I'm taking Henrik Norlander, ball striking savants, not missing out on them being relevant on the weekend, like I potentially did with Neesmith at the Valspar. So Neesmith's only at 131 on FanDuel. I'm pretty sure that there are better numbers out there. I'm hoping that there is. Yeah, he's 180 on DraftKings. Norlander 320 on FanDuel. And I think that might be the highest you can get. 320 is pretty good. Nope, just kidding. He's 500 on DraftKings. Boom. So he's at the bottom of the barrel. He's next to Morgan Hoffman, who hasn't played a golf tournament in God knows how long.
Good story, though.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
I was going to get into that. I think Morgan Hoffman, top 30, just play it.
Well, he needs to, like, for his exemption, right? He still has, like, he needs to do well on his next couple starts, right?
Yeah, he's going to get in the top 30.
Yeah, if you haven't read the Golf Digest article on him, like, you have to check it out. It's insane.
Yeah, he's a freak.
I can't even begin to describe. Like, I can't even do it justice.
He's gone through so much body transformation. The fact that he's coming back out to play is absurd. So
I like they won't do it, but I want him to be in a feature group.
They should do it
because I feel like people would be interested in watching that.
They should put him with Justin Thomas and Ricky Fowler and make it a group.
Yeah,
they really should.
I almost wish that Abe waited till the feature groups came out to withdraw because I think Hoffman subbed in for him, so he would have been in one.
Maybe he is in one. They just haven't come out yet.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know when they determined it. Yeah.
I know they might have predetermined it, and Abe would have been in
cool.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in that thought process, we obviously have to have a piece of Morgan Hoffman this week. So.
I mean, we've seen dumber selections for feature groups. I could see them putting him in based on the storyline.
They should.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Sorry, man. Back to long shots. Who else do you have? Boss, you can stick around because we're wrapping up here.
I'm here with you.
I'm like looking down on it. I mean, I don't think JT Poston's done enough recently to take him, but a guy stood out to me next to him. I mean, is it crazy to consider Bo Hostler at 120 to 1?
Not
He was
really. I
playing
guess.
pretty well going into. I mean, he didn't play last week, but he was 4th at the Valero. He missed the cut at the Players, but then 20th at the Arnold Palmer, 16th at the Honda. Made the cut at the Genesis. I feel like he's kind of starting to find his game a little bit. 120 seems pretty fair.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy because he actually does have some pretty good performances while showing some ridiculously bad statistics. Like he's over 100 in every metric that I have pulled up in my model, except for greens and regulation gain is 55th and strokes gained around the green is 26. He's been bad here. He's been bad at Sedgefield, bad at Colonial, bad on short courses under 7,200 yards, bad in proximity ranges under 150. He's not been good off the tee, but he has a 4th, a 20th, a 16th, and he made the cut of the Genesis and 3rd at Pebble Beach. So it kind of doesn't make sense. He might just be an outlier there where he can pull it together somehow, but I don't.
Yeah. Saving strokes somewhere, and no one's catching.
I've also just never really appreciated Bo Hostler.
He's kind of dorky, yeah.
Yeah,
but
the visor gets me going the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you could either pull off the visor, like Keith Mitchell, for instance, or you have trouble. Like I feel like Bo, like I hate to say it because I do appreciate a visor, but like I feel like maybe he should go hat.
He kind of feels like the guy that should just not wear a hat.
Yeah, just like no
hat. He has a weird head. It's like hats aren't supposed to be
Richard Bland.
Yeah. Richard Bland doesn't wear a hat.
I don't think he does. Right?
I don't think he does. That's a good shout.
Wow. All right.
Yeah,
I thought I saw him wearing a hat at the match play, but
maybe I think he didn't. Like in Europe, I don't know if he does now. Maybe he got a sponsor or something.
Depends on the conditions, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right. So Bo Hostler was not expecting that at all. Also,
I gotta switch something up. It's not going well lately in the outright market, so like maybe it's time to start switching things around.
Okay, that's fair. So now I'm going back to another familiar name, I guess, that I've mentioned a decent amount, but Joel Damon. I feel like he's at a pretty good number, 131, short course. He's played here twice, 48th, 16th. I'm going to take him in the top 20 market, probably sprinkle an outright because why not? If there's a comparison for the best finish he's had in 2022, he finished 6th at Pebble Beach. Also extremely small greens, which we didn't really mention this week, but there are small greens, tough to
I did say that in the opening.
So I think, he obviously played really well.
Thanks for paying attention to the course description.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Well, it was a while ago. So either way, surprisingly, he finished 6th there with not really hitting his approaches that well and being mediocre around the green. So I think his game can kind of shape up well for a course like this, and we'll see. I mean, he's only played here twice, 131, felt like a pretty good number for Joel. And then my two veteran long shot top 20, top 30 thoughts are Jim Furyk and Luke Donald. So going back to the Luke Donald well, he's still top 5 in strokes gained on approach in his last 36 rounds in this field. Played really well here. Short course, doesn't have to worry about being long off the tee. And he really burned me recently at, was that Valero? No, Valspar. No, Valero. No, it was Valero. Because I didn't bet him at the Valspar. He finished 16th. Then he makes a cut at the Valero, was inside the top 20, and ended up finishing 58th. So I still think he's playing good golf. Like, there's something to be said about a guy in his mid-40s that's still got a good iron game and doesn't have to be long off the tee. I feel like he's coming in looking at what happened last year and seeing Stuart sink when he's like, I got a chance here. So I like that. He's at, 250 or higher, Luke Donald. But I'm going to be taking him to top 20, top 30, sprinkle the outright. Furyk as well. It's like another course that Jim Furyk's won here twice. Makes kind of no sense, but he is 7th in the model I made this week. Maybe focus a little bit too much on course history and short courses, we'll say. because he has actually missed his last 3 cuts here and finished 70th in 2018 and missed a cut in 2017. So he actually hasn't played well here since he won in 2015. So I might be reconsidering my thought process on Jim Furyk. But how did he finish 7th in my model? It's insane.
See, this is why we talk it through. This is what we're here for.
I'm annoyed by that.
Also sounds like you just opened up a spot for Ricky Fowler. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, for what I just rambled on with everything, considering Matthew Neesmith, Henrik Norlander, Joel Damon, and I like Harry Higgs top 20 this week, coming off of his Masters play. So,
What about?
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I'm looking at a list here now. I've taken this guy at worse, numbers than this. What about Ches Reeves, 320 to 1?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, not a long course. Like, yeah, I get he's been struggling, I guess, but like he had a 10th at the Genesis. That wasn't that long ago. He made the cut at Palmer. He had a 39th at the Valspar. Like, I mean, not great, but it's not that bad to deserve a 320 to 1.
It's not good.
He has won on the PGA Tour before. I mean, might be that veteran play down there.
Might be that veteran play. So that's what I'm saying. Veteran plays in play. I can't say anymore because I've gone down a rabbit hole here of saying things that I'm going to regret. So being honest with the people here, Jim Furyk might not end up on the card.
Yeah, I'm starting to talk Ricky Fowler off there.
I might talk him on there. So.
Yeah, I just wanted to cause some commotion on that one.
Nah, sick, dude. Speaking of that, dude, CT Pan. No?
Yeah, no, I know. I thought about him.
Oh, you thought? You didn't even mention him.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a silent thought.
This is silent thought. Yeah, well, I mean,
former
world champion, Olympic medalist.
Yeah, he did medal at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Previous champion here. Yeah, you're right.
So,
speaking a lot of sense. A lot more sense than someone who just touted Ricky Fowler a couple minutes ago.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we, I guess, recap our thoughts here. One and done this week. I actually think this is one of those weeks where I think the percentages of players taken will be more spread out than usual. So it would be a nice week to hit a winner in a one and done market because I think you'll get a nice boost. So like I said, unfortunately, I was looking to take Corey Connors, but for whatever reason, I've thought about taking him before and wasted him. And I'm going to take Daniel Berger instead.
Okay.
So that's where I'm going.
I might take Joaquin Niemann. I think he's the safest of my top plays. I've already used Daniel Berger, so kind of falls to him. I think Siwoo might be a little bit risky, and the rest of my picks, as we've kind of gone through, a little bit risky as well. So I feel like Niemann's kind of the play there.
Okay, boss.
I'm thinking Webb, which means he will surely be the highest owned, most square one and done player, and probably miss the cut then. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I've kind of been the Webb whisperer though in the past.
I've won on Webb here, so I'm loyal to my guys when they come through for me, to an extent. But I think he's
what extent?
Well, I mean, I take a big picture view at things. I'm not just going to blindly jump back in, but I think Webb's finally healthy again, and I think this is a course. There's Webb courses out there, as we all reference. This is one of them. So I think this is a spot that you would deploy Webb, and I think it's a good spot for him. So
just to be fair, there is no extent, right?
Yeah, there's an extent.
All right, fine. All right. Well, and then also, are you taking anyone else this week outright?
Yeah, so I'm living right in that 30 to 50 range. You referenced this would be a good spot to live in, and that's just where I'm moving right on in. I'll be on Berger there with you guys. I think it's a good course for Berger. I mean, this is a good course for all the guys, so I'll save that spiel. But Berger, Niemann, I'll be on Webb. Loyalty play there. Got to go back to my guy. Got it done for me here. Kisner and then Henley. So right in there.
Wow.
See, that's what I'm saying. You could easily make a 5-person card between 30 and 50.
Simple. Honestly, this might have been the easiest card of the year for me to make. I kind of ran through yesterday, looking at stuff, getting prepared, wrote down a couple names, and usually I do that, and then the odds come out, and it's like, well, we can't really do this responsibly with the bankroll that we're working with here. But some weeks it shakes out where the numbers fall in the right spots, and it's just falls into place nicely. So hopefully that means the winner will equally as nicely fall into place for us. But
I like it. Yeah. So just to recap, I mean, we're living in that range. I mean, I have Corey Connors at 26, Danny Berger at 31. Russell Henley has already moved from 40 to 38 since we've been talking. And then Kevin Kisner at 45. Then I have some decisions made down the board. Obviously, I've mentioned a ton of players, Russell Knox being one of them. Ricky Fowler is now on the mind, Matthew Neesmith, Joel Damon, and then Henrik Norlander and Luke Donald and Jim Furyk. So definitely not taking Jim Furyk out right though. And then some other top 20 thoughts. I mean, I do like Russell Knox in that theory. I do like Harry Higgs to continue his good playoff last week. I think those will be some nice top 20 odds. And just as a throwing shit on the wall and going with the holistic approach at things, Morgan Hoffman's got to be a good top 20 play.
I can get Morgan Hoffman play too.
I say good. I just mean like it'll be a nice number
to root for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be 13-1. I'm hoping.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, something like that. I'll get in on that too, just for good measures. I am going to take Berger 31, Neiman 32, Si Woo 55. I see right here. I'll see how that shakes out, but that might be the best I could find. Knox, I think 95. We'll see what happens with Fowler. I feel kind of bad now. If you end up taking it, I might have to get on board. But other than that, I'm looking at Bo Hostler 120 and the Chaz Reavie 320. That feels good. I've taken Chaz at like 80-1 recently, so I feel like 320. I can't let that pass.
Yeah, I have no idea how much golf Morgan Hoffman's played, but he's at 16-1 to be top 20.
According to the article, there is like a course and driving range around there. So it's
but if you read that article too, it was like he barely goes.
Yeah, well, hopefully he's picked it up lately.
Yeah. It's a good vibes on that island though. Like it
sounds like a pretty sweet place to live, minus the drinking your own piss and stuff.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to also add in a EVR like top 20. I might have a finishing position on Hatton because given what transpired further down the board, he might not be able to make it on the card as an outright. But yeah, some sort of combination of those guys that I mentioned in finishing positions as well. And I'll get Hatton with you. All
right. Well, episode 100. All right. Boss, go.
Real quick, I just have something I want to throw in here, get your guys quick reaction on. The Philadelphia Phillies scored 5 runs in the bottom of the 8th to come back and beat the Mets 5-4 tonight.
Let's go.
You know, it's funny. I actually was going to mention that because I saw the updates coming in on my phone and despicable
stuff.
Let's say that's what happens when you have that kind of offense. Put on those runs in a hurry.
The Phillies. The Phillies suck, dude. Let's go.
Hey, 3-1.
Seth Lugo, nice outing, dude. 0.1 innings, 2 earned runs. And the loss and a blown save. Yeah, it's nice. So good for Seth. Not good for the Mets. All right, yeah, we'll leave it at that. What I was going to say, episode 100 is right around the corner. A few more majors coming around the corner. Some big tournaments coming around the corner. Next week's the Zurich Classic, which we may or may not have an episode for. But we're hitting winners this week, living in that 30 to 50 range. So let's get it. And we will talk to you guys next week. Fuck the Phillies.